How many times have you told yourself, when things settle down, I'll start? Or, as soon as I have that money, I'll make the decision. If you look back at the last 5 or 10 years, you'll realize that the right time never arrived, but time passed just the same. You live with the constant feeling that your real life is just about to begin, but for now, you're just handling prerequisites. It's as if you are in a waiting room, expecting to be called into your own existence. The problem is, nobody is going to call your name. This sensation of a provisional life is one of the most sophisticated cognitive traps that exists. Your brain convinces you that delaying isn't fear, it's prudence. It sells you the idea that you are preparing, when in reality, you are just aging in safety. I'm going to repeat this phrase because it might help change your behavior. The comfort of indecision creates a false sense of eternity, but the cost is a whole life lived only in theory. Today's video is the definitive guide to aligning yourself with the right way to stop waiting. I'll explain the details in a moment, but first, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Let's get into it. If you feel you have a lot of potential but very little practical realization because you are always waiting for the perfect scenario to align, you need to understand what is happening chemically in your brain. It's not laziness. It is a defense mechanism that has transformed waiting into your identity. And what we are going to dissect next is exactly how to switch off this mode before provisional becomes your permanent. Let us dissect what really happens behind the scenes of your mind when you say you are waiting for the right moment. Neurologically, your brain is a prediction machine designed for survival, not for happiness. It hates uncertainty. When you say, "I'm not ready," your limbic system is calculating risks and overestimating the danger of error. The problem is that this risk assessment is broken. You treat the decision to launch a project, change careers, or end a failed relationship as if it were an immediate physical threat. This generates what I call mental obesity. You consume information voraciously, reading books, listening to podcasts, taking courses believing you are nourishing yourself. But without execution, this knowledge doesn't turn into muscle. It turns into cognitive fat. You feel heavy, slow, and overwhelmed by theories you've never tested. The feeling of studying just a little bit more is a chemical addiction. Learning triggers dopamine, giving you a sense of progress. Executing triggers cortisol, the stress hormone. Your brain, seeking comfort, chooses eternal study over painful practice. You have become addicted to preparation. And this feeds a silent arrogance. Maybe you've never admitted this out loud, but deep down, you don't start because you think you're too good to start small. Perfectionism isn't a quest for excellence. It is a form of defensive narcissism. As long as you don't do it, your idea remains perfect and untouched in your mind. The moment you put it out into the world, it becomes real, mediocre, and subject to criticism. Your ego prefers the fantasy of untested genius to the reality of initial mediocrity. You prefer to be the genius who never tried rather than the common man who tried and failed. Here comes an example that's going to sting. Think of that person you know who is objectively less intelligent and less qualified than you, but who has far more financial results and status. Why does this happen? Because while you were polishing the perfect strategy and waiting for the economy to improve, they acted with a mediocre plan. The real world rewards imperfect execution and severely punishes impeccable planning that never leaves the paper. This dynamic creates the trap of the provisional life. You live in an apartment you don't decorate because you're moving soon. You stay in a job you despise because it's just for now. You sustain a lukewarm relationship because it's not the time to have difficult conversations. Suddenly, you look at the calendar and realize this provisional state has lasted 6 years. I'm going to repeat this phrase because it might help change your behavior. The provisional has a frightening capacity to become permanent if there is no expiration date imposed by you. Furthermore, you are a victim of the future self fallacy. You treat the you from 6 months from now as if they were a different person, someone more disciplined, braver, and less tired. You delegate the hard decisions to this imaginary stranger. I'll start Monday. I'll change next year. The brutal truth is that your future self will be exactly the same as your present self, only older, with less energy, and with procrastination habits even more deeply rooted. The magic of spontaneous transformation does not exist. The comfort of not deciding is addictive due to the omission bias. Psychology explains that humans prefer the damage caused by inertia over the damage caused by action. If you try and fail, you feel guilty. If you do nothing and life goes wrong, you feel like a victim of circumstance. It is much more comfortable to be a victim of fate than the culprit of your own choices. But the cost of this is entropy. What isn't growing is dying. There's no real stagnation. If you are moving forward, you are moving backward while the world advances. Think about the clothes in your closet that you don't wear because you're re-waiting to have the ideal body. They are there, aging, while you dress to hide who you are today. Think about the money you failed to make because you didn't invest in that business 5 years ago, thinking it was too expensive. Time does not respect your pause. Biology doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Perhaps you have turned waiting into an identity. You are the guy with potential. At 20, having potential is a compliment. At 35 or 40, being someone with a lot of potential is an insult. It means dammed up energy that never turned into movement. There is also the fear of irreversibility. You don't choose a path because you're afraid of closing doors to others. You want to keep all options open. But living with all options open means living none of them. It's like standing in a hotel hallway, staring at 10 doors, never entering a room. The hallway is not the destination. Staying in the hallway is the guarantee that you will never rest, never build, and never belong anywhere. The truth no one wants to face is that the guarantee will never come. The feeling of being ready is a biological lie. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It is a byproduct of action. You are waiting to feel courage to act, but courage only appears after the movement begins. To get out of this state of suspension, you don't need more motivation. You need a reality check on opportunity cost. The cure for waiting mode isn't courage. It's the cold calculation of loss. You need to understand that waiting is an active action. By deciding not to decide, you are actively choosing stagnation. You are choosing every day to kill your future in the name of a present comfort that isn't even satisfying. Stop treating your life like a dress rehearsal. There is no second performance where everything will go perfectly. The lights are already on. The clock is ticking and you are on stage, whether you want to be or not. The difference is that you can act, or stand still center stage waiting for a script that will never arrive. The ideal conditions you are awaiting, more money, more time, more energy, are a mirage. The horizon moves away as you walk toward it. Those who achieve something relevant don't do it because conditions were perfect, but because they decided to act despite imperfect conditions. Abandon the hope that one day you will wake up feeling ready. That day does not exist. Act with fear, act with doubt, act without money, act tired. Imperfection in motion will always beat static perfection. Don't allow your biography to be summarized in the phrase, "He had a lot of potential, but he was waiting for the right moment." The right moment is now, not because everything is ready, but because it is the only time you have. Now I ask you to kindly leave a comment saying whether you liked or disliked the content and the reason why. Your reflection helps other people to also reflect on the topic. Take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving more content like this. See you in the next video.